Okay, this is part 4 of a culture of using the right words, shame versus humility. So, like I'm saying, and the Black Wind Psychic, every time she does a reading, she'll say the energy coming through, and then she'll say energy, energy, energy. It's all about energy. The energy coming through is the energy of such and such. Okay. And, this made me think, because, like I say, I consider her a teacher because she really brings like the deep stuff in her reading. It's amazing. And what this has made me think of, and she helps you connect the dots. This is what a real teacher does. They help you connect the dots. And one of the dots that was connected for me, particularly last night, is that energy is what we live in. It's the ecosystem in which we live, which our souls live, our consciousness lives. And ultimately, everything is consciousness. The scientists will tell you that everything is energy, right? Even matter is just energy taking on a particular form, right? And when it's transformed, it's just the energy changing form. It's not ever destroyed, and it's not ever created either, which is a whole other story. So, I was thinking to myself, so in reality, what happens, ne? If you are raised in a particular environment, right? And you are interacting with particular types of energy, right? That energy becomes the substance that creates the infrastructure of your subconscious world, of your subconscious, okay? Now, Carl Jung said, unless you make the unconscious or the subconscious conscious, unless you acknowledge it, you go into it. This is what it means to embrace and integrate your shadow, is you go into it and you look at this infrastructure and you look at the energy from which it is constructed. You are not going to ever be able to actually change your reality. And this is why I say culture creates behavior and behavior creates reality, right? He says, unless you make the unconscious conscious, things will happen to you and you will just call it fate. You'll say, well, this is just my life. This is just how it is for me. This is how my family is. This is who we are. No, that's not fate. It's your unconscious reality expressing itself through your behavior and then creating the reality in which you live. So we need to examine the energetic substance that our unconscious reality is made of. And culture is unconscious. You don't wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to interact with the world on the basis of this particular worldview. You just wake up and you go about your day and you treat people the way you treat them, and you interact with people the way you interact with them, and you see animals the way you see them, and you see nature the way you see it, and you see the rain in the way you see it, and you see the sunshine in the way you see it, all based on a worldview that you have that has been created in you based on the environment in which you grew up in since you were a child. Unless you interrogate that, there's no way you're going to restructure the infrastructure of your subconscious ecosystem. Okay. And I say substance, and then it brings me to that Bible verse that says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. That unseen thing is the energetic infrastructure that determines your worldview, that determines who you are, how you behave. Maybe not who you are on a soul level, but who you are in terms of your the lens through which you look at the world, through which you hear. Because the Buddha said, we do not see the world as it is, we see it as we are. You see, so that energetic infrastructure is you seeing the world as you are. And who are you? Umuntu ungumuntu ngabantu. You have been created by the people who came before you, by the people who raised you, by the people who are in positions of authority over you. Okay. So I think that, we have to really start looking at this stuff. And, it then goes into the whole realm of like quantum physics and quantum entanglement. And this is why so many self-help books and affirmation-based lifestyles just don't work for people. They don't work for people because they're not helping you to dismantle the energetic infrastructure that keeps you looping through negative experience after negative experience, negative relationship after negative relationship, looping through one diet after the other, trying to lose weight. How you interact with these things, losing money, how you interact with money, food, other people, love, the feeling of love, all has to do with your energetic infrastructure. And if you're not dealing with that, all these things will happen to you and you'll just call it fate. So there's a lot of work in terms of excavating our subconscious that we have to do as human beings. And unfortunately, many of the religious institutions of this world will tell us that we have no business going in there. We must just have faith. Well, what is faith? It's the substance of things hoped for. What are you hoping for? You're hoping for a better life. You're hoping for more money, for better relationships, for healthy children, for this, that, and the other thing. How are those things just going to happen? It's all about the frequency that you have that will cause you to interact with consciousness in a particular way in order to create that infrastructure within you, and also to influence the infrastructure in other people, and also to attract people, because frequency will attract frequency, to attract people who are vibing on your same frequency. Because if your frequency is low and full of shame and self-doubt because of the shame, you are going to attract people who are like that. You won't be able to vibrate in harmony with someone who is coming from a place of humility-based self-assurance and self-confidence. You will clash with that person. And that's often what happens when people who have been raised in shame-filled environments to feel unlovable, to feel unworthy of love and respect. What happens to them is that when they meet someone who actually does have true and unconditional love for them, it's such a cognitive dissonance, it's such an energy mismatch that they'll be convinced that this person is trying to kill them. Like literally, it happens. And then they'll sabotage that relationship because they're being yanked out of their energetic comfort zone, and their identity, which is so much enmeshed in that energetic infrastructure, is now being shattered essentially. And if you lose your identity, you feel like you're losing your mind. Try changing something fundamental in your life, like how you interact with someone. You will feel like an earthquake is happening in your world. Okay. So, all this to say is that, using the right words emit frequency and vibration from your intention. When you speak them, it has a frequency and a vibration. And then you as the hearer, based on your interaction with those words and those concepts, it will affect you in a particular way as well. That's why words are important. That's why Christ said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Your words must mean what you say and say what you mean. It's so important. It's so important, okay? Because the person you're talking to, you are creating their reality by what you're saying, okay? And also you're creating your reality by what you're saying. And so that's why it's very important to use the right words, but at the same time, recognize that these frequencies, if we act based on them, they will create our reality. If you want a high frequency reality, you need to be a humility-based person, not a shame-based person. You don't let people shame you, you don't shame other people, and you don't let yourself shame yourself when you are not able to meet someone's expectations. You humbly approach life. You humbly interact with people. You humbly raise your vibration, knowing that the reality actually only gets changed by your behavior. So if you want something, you need to work towards that thing. Okay, obviously believing in yourself that you're worthy. When you feel like unworthy and scared, it's to humbly say, no, I'm just like every other person. And if every other person is worthy of God's favor and love and support, then so am I. Okay, don't let shame make you believe that you are the exception to the rule of the love of the Creator. You're not. Okay. So I think, when we have this understanding and we start to change our vibration and the way we're approaching things, we will be able to get to the point where we can do the things that we love and be grateful that we get to do them because we're interacting with reality properly, that we have the potential to grow and move on and develop and realize our potential. Whereas shame will keep you locked in a time-space paradigm that makes you believe that you're never going to be more than what other people have conditioned you to believe about yourself. Thank you.